Ever wonder why you're a total powerhouse at a coffee shop, but, a complete distracted mess at your own desk? I've been investigating the evidence, and it turns out your brain has actually been framed by its own surroundings. I've looked at the data, and the truth is, you aren't lazy. I mean, really, you're just a victim of a very specific environmental setup. Think about your desk right now. I mean, look at it. To you, it looks like a workspace, right? But to your subconscious, it's a crime scene, littered with the fingerprints of every time you've opened a tab to scroll social media, every time you felt burnt out, and every time you've chosen a snack over a deadline. You see, your brain is a master of association. When you walk into that bustling coffee shop, you become a productive stranger. You have no history of failure there. So your brain allows you to adopt a new, high-performance persona. But back at your desk, your environment is acting as an accomplice in your procrastination. It's whispering old habits into your ear because it remembers every single moment you spent unfocused. It's a psychological trap. I'm going to show you how to break this cycle, by using something I call the identity anchor. It's the secret tool that elite performers use to switch into high gear instantly, bypassing the distractions of their surroundings. We're about to deconstruct the clues of your behavior and find out exactly how to rewire your space for elite mode. But first, we need to understand why your brain is so easily led astray by the simple objects around you. As I examine your daily routine, the evidence points to a single glaring culprit. Look, it's not your lack of willpower or some character flaw. It's the crime scene you've built for yourself. You see, when I look at how high performers operate versus how you might be struggling right now, the difference isn't just in the mind, it's in the geography. Your brain is a master at pattern recognition. I mean, it's constantly collecting data on your behavior just to save energy. This is what I call environmental contamination. Intrigued? Think of it like a forensics lab where the samples have been cross-contaminated, right? If you've spent the last 3 hours at your desk scrolling through TikTok or checking mindless emails, your brain has officially logged that desk as a low-effort zone. I've seen this happen to the best of us, You sit down, determined to get into a flow state, but you're met with an invisible wall of resistance. That's because you're fighting your own biology. To your brain, every room and every piece of furniture has a psychological file. When you open the file for your desk, what does it actually say? Does it say deep work and high performance? Or does it say stress, snacks, and distraction? If your bed is where you sleep, but also where you answer frantic Slack messages at 11 p.m., you've contaminated your rest. If your kitchen table is where you eat, but also where you pay bills and worry about finances, you've tainted your nourishment. You're forcing your brain to switch gears in a space that's, screaming at it to do something else. I mean, you're essentially trying to perform surgery in a nightclub. The signals are crossed, the data is messy, and the elite mode you're looking for is buried under layers of conflicting habits. I want you to look around your space right now with a detective's eye. Is your environment working for you, or is it an undercover agent working for the enemy? Because as I've analyzed the data, I've realized that simply cleaning your desk isn't the solution. There's a much deeper, more psychological reason why even a clean space can feel like a trap. Serious. In fact, there's one specific clue sitting right in front of you that is actively draining your mental battery, and you probably haven't even noticed it yet. Take a good look at that one specific object on your desk right now. Maybe it's a half-empty coffee mug, or perhaps it's the very laptop you're using. Analytical. To the naked eye, it's just hardware. But as I've looked deeper into the mechanics of high performance, I've realized it's actually a ledger. Intense. It's a record of every time you've procrastinated, every late-night anxiety spiral, and every quick hit of dopamine you've chased on social media, you know? This is what I call the forensic deduction of the mind. Context-dependent memory. You see, your brain doesn't store information in a vacuum. It tethers your mental state to your physical surroundings. This is why you find it nearly impossible to focus at the same kitchen table where you eat dinner and, well, scroll through your phone. Phonely, your neurons have already signed a contract with that space. There's a fundamental biological rule we need to exploit here. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Serious. If you've spent months sitting in that specific chair feeling overwhelmed or distracted, your brain has literally hardwired the feeling of stress into the very fabric of the seat. When you tell yourself you just need more hustle or more willpower to get things done, you're actually fighting a losing battle against your own biology. Direct. You see, you're trying to run elite mode software on a hardware setup that's currently programmed for survival or distraction. To break this cycle, I'm going to show you how to create what I call an identity anchor. This is the secret weapon of the world's most elite performers, and it's something you can start today, right? An identity anchor is a specific sensory trigger, a particular scent, a dedicated playlist, or even a specific desk lamp that you only activate when it is time to perform. It acts as a psychological switch. When that anchor is present, it sends a high priority signal to your subconscious that the casual you has left the building and the performer has arrived. You aren't just trying to work anymore. You are stepping into an alter ego that doesn't know how to lose. By strictly associating one specific cue with deep focus, you bypass the need for willpower entirely. But here is where our investigation takes a turn. Because even if you set up the perfect identity anchor, there is a hidden saboteur living inside your digital environment that can override your brain's new programming in less than a second. And if you don't learn how to neutralize this specific clue, well, you'll find yourself back in the trap before you even realize you've been compromised. I've been analyzing the data, the raw evidence of why our days feel so fractured. And here's the tactical breakdown of an evidence-based solution. I call this the elite protocol. And honestly, it's how we're going to re-engineer your environment so it actually solves your focus rather than stealing it piece by piece.
Step 1 is the sensory reset. Think of this as a neurochemical key, you know? I need you to choose one specific scent. For me, it's the sharp, almost medicinal hit of eucalyptus, or maybe just a very particular lo-fi playlist. The rule here is absolute. You only, and I mean only, use this cue when you're in deep work mode. You see, I've found that when I trigger this specific sensory anchor, my brain stops hunting for distractions and starts hunting for solutions. We are essentially, well, Pavloving your own subconscious, right? Step 2, the physical pivot. We need to examine the lighting of your, let's call it the crime scene, your desk. Most of us are trying to be productive under the same warm amber home lights we use to relax. It's a conflict of interest. I need you to flip the switch, literally. Change to a cool white office lamp. This isn't about aesthetics, actually. It's a direct signal to your circadian focus. By shifting the color temperature, you're telling your biology that the period of rest is officially closed, and the high-performance window, well, it's open. Step 3 is what I call the uniform signal.
I personally use a specific work sweater, or even my noise-canceling headphones, even if I'm not playing any music. The physical pressure of those headphones against my head, it acts as a tactical barrier. It's an anchor that locks me into the zone by removing the clue, the noise of the environment. I implement these signals every morning because they remove the need for willpower, which is a finite resource, right? When the sweater goes on and that cool light hits my desk, the investigation into my work begins automatically. These aren't just habits, they are the anchors that lock your brain into a state of elite performance by systematically removing every possible path to distraction. But as I looked deeper into this protocol, I realized something troubling. Even if you set up the perfect physical environment, there is a psychological back door that most professionals leave wide open. It's a subtle mental glitch, a leak, that can cause your focus to drain out of the room no matter how many anchors you have in place. And if I don't show you how to seal this exit, you'll find that elite mode is nothing more than a temporary, well, a mask. To seal that psychological backdoor, I had to look at the data a bit differently. You see, the leak doesn't actually happen because of your environment. It happens because of your identity frame. When I say you've been a passenger in your own mind, I mean you've been waiting for motivation to show up and take the wheel. But here is the cold, hard deduction. High performers don't wait for a feeling. They trigger a state. The identity anchor is your forensic tool for self-mastery, right? By linking a specific scent, a specific playlist, or even the way you clear your desk to your elite mode, you're telling your brain that the trial of to work or not to work is finally over. The verdict has been reached. You are no longer the person who struggles to start. You are the professional who is now on the clock.
When you master these environmental cues, you stop reacting to the world and you start commanding your focus. I mean, you aren't just hacking productivity. You're reclaiming who you are at your highest level. You're deciding that elite mode isn't a rare guest that visits once a month. It's the person who lives here. It's about moving from a state of, I have to do this, to this is what I do. So, I'm giving you your first assignment in this investigation. I want you to pick one anchor today. Just one. Maybe it's a specific pair of noise-canceling headphones that only go on when you're doing deep work. Calculated. Maybe it's a specific coffee mug or a desk lamp that stays off unless you're in the zone. Firmly, whatever it is, treat it as sacred. When that anchor is active, you are the elite version of yourself. No exceptions. The evidence is clear. Your environment is either a cage or a catalyst. I've shown you how to pick the lock. Now, it's time for you to step through the door. If you're ready to close the case on procrastination and take back control of your mental frame, hit subscribe to Power of Mindset and join our investigation into high-performance psychology. I'll see you in the next case.